Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, January 31st, 2021. Have you tuned in to the newest CBS original series? It's called The Surrogate. Starring Mariah Copeland. Wow, all in the span of 1 week's time, Abby and Chance have decided that surrogacy is the path. And Abby asks Mariah to do it, and surprise, Mariah says, yes, yeah, sure, why not? But is this a good idea? Is this really a good idea? Or is this destined to end in disaster? Let's start out with a poll question on that note. So, YRChat.com. Should Mariah be Abby and Chance's gestational surrogate, or is this thing a total bad idea? What do you think? Ultimately, I think this story is destined to have a happy ending. I sense that the writers want that for Chance and Abby. I sense that the fans want that for Chance and Abby. I can't see Mariah turning around and deciding that she wants to keep the baby or something. She would have no legal claim. I'm sure that all of the paperwork is going to be tight before they move further at all on this. I mean, Mariah would have to go crazy and steal the baby for this to go that far wrong. I don't know. I'm just thinking that it's more likely for Mariah to agree to this, to get all the way to the end of the process, and to decide that she now wants to have a child of her own. That's my guess. Of course, there's also a possibility that Mariah will go through the first step, the exam process, only to find out that she can't carry children. There's a lot of different ways that this could go, and I'm sure that the internet trolls are going to love it. This storyline is going to be so popular with everyone. Any way you slice it. Sure. Let me tell you, Mariah as a surrogate for Abby and Chance has opened up a whole new well of internet hate for me, lucky me, to moderate comments on. Mariah is already in all ways going to be hated by a segment of the fans for being a lesbian. And now we have this unconventional story. It's just adding a layer of hate frosting onto the top of the flame cake. Yay! Oh. But you know, the surrogacy is not a new storyline for Y&R. Just from my paltry 25 years of watching, I can remember when Catherine the Great Chancellor's granddaughter, Mackenzie Browning, became a surrogate for Cain and Lily. When Lily was unable to carry her own children after her ovarian cancer, same situation. Lily and Cain contributed the blueprints, and Mackenzie carried the child. So it's not new. It shouldn't be terribly shocking. What I'm realizing though is that we spent an entire 9 months of time predicting that Mackenzie, Cain, Lily situation would go wrong, and it never did. it's funny because Mariah and that version of Mackenzie, Clementine Ford, had kind of a similar temperament. They're both kind of dry and to the point. So I don't see it going too far awry. And so if this story isn't going to be about that, then I think it's just going to be about all of the emotions involved. I kind of wish, though, that we hadn't been predicting this surrogacy storyline for 2 weeks now. I kind of wish I got to feel a little more shocked and that it would have stretched out a little bit longer, because the plot does feel predictable. I mean, the emotions within it, I think, are all going to be good, but the plot has been rushed and kind of obvious. It was so obvious that Y&R even spoiled it in the previews. I mean, I kind of, like, they just showed us in the coming up on Y&R that Abby came up with this idea, and then Mariah was asking Tessa if she would be a good mom. So I wish they would have maybe let us on with the previews and then twisted it to be someone other than Mariah. I think that would have made me giddy, because I love a good gotcha, but that's not what we got. Mariah was so gobsmacked when Abby worked up the nerve to ask her if she would do this. I thought that Cameron Grimes did a really good job of playing that absolute blank shock. Like, Mariah's world just faded to white and she was gone. Like, out the door gone. If I were Abby and I cared about my friendship with Mariah, I would have been worried in that moment that I ruined my friendship forever. But Abby accepted that Mariah needed some space to consider the possibility, so Mariah goes directly from Abby and Chance's house to meet up with Tessa. And Tessa looks different. She's giving me a dark-haired Gwen Stefani vibe, with the long nails, the long lashes, the perfectly sculpted eyebrows, some possible lip filler maybe. Her lips seem extremely plump. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something way different in Tessa's face. I kind of wish there was something different in Tessa's reaction. Tessa's reaction was far less surprised than Mariah's, somehow. Tessa seemed totally okay with whatever Mariah decided to do. And I can't help feeling that there's a big emotional hole there. If your partner wanted you to carry someone else's child, wouldn't you mind? At least at first, until you had some time to let the idea sit with you and come around to it. I think I would have rather have had Tessa have some reservations about it, have some opinions about it. She's only human. I mean, we're territorial. We're a territorial being. I just would have expected maybe Tessa to, I don't know, give us more. I wanted more from her reaction. But it was all about Mariah. Mariah was over here worrying about the tough issues, like how she's not going to be able to eat sushi and ride a roller coaster or drink a Cosmo for 9 months. You know, get into the real heart of the issue here. No roller coasters? Forget it. One summer. She would be out one summer of roller coasters. That's it. How about we let Dr. Sharon weigh in on this one? How about that? Bring in the Dr. Sharon to tell us what she thinks. It seemed like Mariah was leaning toward saying yes pretty quickly. In Mariah's mind, I think she believed that it would be 9 months, a slam dunk, and then she would just move on with her life. But I was glad that Sharon challenged Mariah on that notion. Sharon said to Mariah, having a child's not that simple. You may not feel so cut and dry when you're in it, when you're in the middle of it, or after. Having a child is life-changing, whether you're keeping the child or not. It's a line that you cross and you can never go back. Things are just different. At the very least, your hormones are different. My hair was straight my whole life. I had my daughter, my hair went curly and never went back. It's so weird the way things change. So, according to Sharon, if Mariah thinks that she can just breeze in and out of this baby surrogacy Project Baby Surrogacy, then she might want to think twice. And I wonder if that spells disaster. I don't think so. I think it spells happy ending, but it's gonna take some work to get there. And we'll probably be all up in this for all of 2021. Wow, Faith finally pulled the pin this week. She exploded on Nikki, Nick, and Phyllis after she just lost patience playing the quiet nice girl game. She just told them all about her bad girl exploits with Jordan, and I'm not sure how much of it was true and how much of it was made up just to make them squirm. But I really got the impression that her snarky little tale about the girl who thought that the Long Island iced tea was really iced tea, I got the feeling that was a true story that happened to her. Boy, I'm not glad for what Faith is going through, but I am glad that she finally let some of it out rather than hiding it and lying all the time. She just let them all have it. And by it, I mean the truth. She let them have the truth. And that's not easy, especially sometimes with people you love and respect and who hold power of you. It's not easy, to be honest. But Faith had her little meltdown and then seemed to relax later when she was talking it out with Nikki and Nick separately. Now, I have to say, I thought that was a gorgeous scene with Nikki and Faith. I like that Nikki took Faith outside to get some fresh air for that chat. I also like that Nikki didn't come off as preachy. She just wanted to reinforce to Faith that alcoholism is a real problem, and she wanted to reassure Faith that she would find her way, just like Grandma Nikki did. Grandma Nikki made some wild choices as a younger woman, but she overcame her destructive tendencies. A lot of our characters have. But we have Nick on the other side of this too, who is at a loss for how to handle parenting a teen. I'm sure there's a million different things you can say about it, but unless you've ever been through it, what do you really have to offer? And every situation is unique. Nick doesn't know whether to hold the leash tighter or to give Faith more freedom. And every child's not the same. The approach is not going to work with every teen. So he's finding himself in a really tricky place. What Faith was telling Nick is, I need more freedom. I'm not a little girl anymore, and I want my freedom. That has to be so hard to hear, because I'm imagining my little girl saying that to me, and it's gonna hurt. That is gonna hurt so bad. But if you do your job right, your kids are supposed to grow up. They're supposed to become independent and make their own choices, and the bad choices too. They're supposed to make their own bad choices too. I'm actually really glad that Y&R's doing a parenting storyline. I mean, finally. We got infertility and parenting. These are both issues that many viewers can relate to and connect with. Now, here's what bothers me. Nick is spending way more time actually talking to Faith than Sharon is. That's the one criticism that I have to offer here. I wish that we were seeing conversations like this between Faith and Sharon. So far, we've seen Sharon talking about Faith plenty. She's going to be looking into some counselors next week, and that's all fine and well and good. But we've seen a lot of Sharon talking about Faith, and we haven't seen her talking to Faith. Sharon is the mom. Sharon needs to be doing more momming and less worrying about Adam and Chelsea. Surprise! Chelsea agrees to Sharon becoming her counselor. Just to keep her close, though. And to keep Sharon from getting any closer to Adam. Oof. After that fake out dream that Chelsea had, where she had a full recovery, and then appeared at Sharon's house to find Adam and Sharon lying around in the nude. Okay, not that part, but imagine that part. Adam just popping out of the shower after a sex sesh, champagne on the table. Yeah, I'd say Chelsea needs to think about keeping a good eye on Sharon after that little dream fantasy. Clever, Y&R. That was pretty clever. I liked it. Oh, and yes, so Adam has the bright idea that he wants Sharon to counsel Chelsea. Chelsea agrees to it. Sharon's reaction to Adam's request was kind of an amused shock. She was lightly amused that he would even have the idea to want her there. But after Chelsea had such a negative reaction on the day that Sharon was there driving the bookmobile by, Adam thinks that it would be a good idea to use that negative reaction. Adam tells Sharon he wants her to get a reaction out of Chelsea. He wants Sharon to light that fire in Chelsea. All right. I'll buy that. I can buy that. It's actually kind of a good strategy. Oh, Sharon back into her leather pants, trying to talk to Chelsea about her feelings. Yeah, that might get a reaction out of Chelsea. It might just get a reaction out of Chelsea. And would Sharon also be wearing her one-shoulder white peasant top to counsel Chelsea? Everyone knows it's easier to counsel with one shoulder covered and one shoulder exposed, plus tan leather pants. That's how you get the job done. Oh, so okay, I approve of this method of treatment for Chelsea. But I think the plot might get a little obvious. I think Chelsea is going to recover her mobility weeks before anyone finds out about it. That's what I think. Someone predicted that last week. I read it from comments, and now I'm starting to think, yeah, that might just be it. Chelsea's going to recover long before anybody knows about it. So Sharon's definitely getting herself into the middle of a mess. just like Ray told her not to. I don't even know why Sharon bothered to get Ray's opinion on the whole thing. She knew he wasn't going to tell her not to do it, but she also knew that he wasn't going to stop her from doing it. Everyone in Genoa City has been snowed in by the big winter storm of 2021. But Lily's plane was able to successfully get out of town and land in New York City safely. Lily's plane left just fine, but Victoria and Nikki's plane was grounded. No Hawaii for us. Rats. Oh. Victoria tried to leave for Hawaii, and the moment she did, Billy brings Katie and Johnny to ChanceCom to low-key meet Lily. And I thought that Lily was so charming in those scenes. I wanted to play her unicorn game. It sounded great. She was so patient with Billy, playing office golf in her office. Oh, Lily, she's just fantastic right now. But after Nikki told Victoria that she was a workaholic, and Victoria overheard Katie laughing and bonding with Lily while on the phone with Billy, that flight was suddenly delayed. I think the sheer power of Victoria's jealousy made the plane have to turn around. Billy asked Victoria about that jealousy again this week, and she continues to deny that she has any problems with Billy's new girlfriend, but we know that's not true. We know that is not true. We see the looks. Victoria goes to ChanceCom, finds Billy and Lily having a cozy moment with her family. And that's what they are. I mean, they're a family. Whether Billy and Victoria are together or not, they're a family. And those kids want pizza with mom and dad. Those kids want donuts with mom and dad. Those kids want frosted cookies with mom and dad. I'm starting to think that this parenting thing is all about the snacks. That's the ticket. That's the key. Well, Billy and Victoria spent a lot of time together this week in the snowstorm. But Billy and Victoria's family time and heart-to-heart time, although they were nice, it doesn't make me long for the days of the Billy and Victoria romance. If anything, it makes me disappointed in Billy. This is the life he could have had. Being with his family, enjoying the little moments of peace that exist in between all of the madness. This is the life that Billy couldn't wait to wriggle away from. They had their chance. Victoria had him positioned inside of her perfect little dollhouse just where she wanted him, raising their kids, supporting her and her all-consuming job. But Billy would have rather been in a sawdust floor bar, playing cards and doing shots with Amanda. I mean, I do want to acknowledge the progress that Billy has made. I'm sure that if he could go back, he would do things differently. And he admitted this week, I'm a work in progress. I still make mistakes, but I like this guy. And you know what? I like this guy too. I do. And Victoria admitted that she's not blameless for their marital problems. That's true. But now I feel like Victoria's rewriting the history in her own mind because she's afraid of losing Billy to Lily. When there were many reasons why Billy and Victoria's marriages, now that's marriages, Billy and Victoria's marriages with an S, there's a reason that didn't work out. I think it's natural for Victoria to mourn what couldn't be, but I'd way rather see her move forward into something new. What Victoria really needs is a new man. Victoria really needs a new man to prance around town and rub in everyone's face. Well, how about Nate? How about Nate? 'Cause he's about to be single. Ooh, Devon. Mr. Pius, Genoa City's ordained minister. I think he might have just lost a little bit of his moral high ground. Devon's been walking around for months now with a chip on his shoulder about Elena and Nate cheating on him, and now here he is, engaging in sweet, loving living room sex with Elena while she's with Nate and he's dating Amanda. For shame, for sexual shame. Just kidding. Don't get me wrong. No, it was tender. It was moving. It was downright healing. But I've got whiplash. Okay, I can't believe that we're switching up these couples again. Amanda meeting with Nate this week, and Devon sexing with Elena this week. I did not know that was going to happen. I mean, the shock value was great. Great. Maybe that's what it's more about. Because early in the week, Devon offered Amanda and Lily his private jet for their business meeting. And then he even offered to go with them. Like, he invited himself along on their trip. And it really seemed like he was trying to get in with Amanda. Like, he was ready to move on with her. And just side note, I have to ask this question. Didn't Devon and Hillary go to New York City one time together to have their affair while she was married to Neil, who was blind at the time? I kind of remember Neil maybe wanting to surprise Hillary in her hotel room, and then he showed up and he realized that Devon was in there with her. Did that happen, or did I imagine that? But that's all I could think of when Devon was offering to go to New York City with Amanda. I was thinking of him and Hillary. Oh, well, they had a first date. Amanda and Devon had a first date before she went off on her trip. And I would love having my first date with Devon in the lobby in the hotel where I live. It's just so convenient. You could have every date down in the lobby of the hotel where you live. And when the date is done, you just walk a few steps, take the elevator up to your room, or if the date's going really well, both of you can take the elevator up to your room. But since he wasn't going to New York with them, it was just a date. And this is COVID town. We are living in COVID town right now. We can only have emoji kisses in place of real first kisses because Amanda and Devon really hit it off. I mean, naturally, of course they were going to hit it off. This really isn't their first date. I'm sorry, but I don't know why they're calling it a first date. It was not a first date. They've been dating longer than they're willing to admit. My guess is that we're just calling it a first date so that it doesn't look quite so bad on Devon that he just slept with Elena. I think the writing is trying to distance Devon and Amanda so that it doesn't look as bad that he just turned around and slept with Elena. Well, he's not really dating Amanda. Well, yeah, he kind of has been dating Amanda. And they both did admit that they wanted to kiss each other. And I loved watching Devon work his way toward exactly that. He is a smooth operator, that Devon Hamilton. Did you see his game? I was watching him real close. He'd have gotten that kiss if the circumstances were different. And we all know this is driven by COVID. That's the real reason the date couldn't end with the kiss. We were promised that it would happen soon. I had my hopes up that maybe there would be some rapid testing or whatever, but then pop, Devon and Elena happened. And now I realize that Devon and Amanda are in the dust. Devon can't kiss Amanda because of COVID, so he needs to get back together with Elena. And it all started with a handshake. That handshake really took a ride into a totally different territory that I was not anticipating. Elena asked Devon to be friends and to seal it with a handshake. A couple scenes later, we were shaking more than hands. Oh, well, Elena decided she had to deliver an envelope to Devon in person, herself, directly to the penthouse where she used to live with him, happily, as a couple. I mean, Elena knows where all the letter openers are in that penthouse. A letter opener? Really? I'm sorry. I have to say it. Devon hacked away at that envelope with the letter opener in the most dangerous way. I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. Devon versus opening the envelope with the letter opener was as bad as Ray trying to fold a blanket. You push the blade away from you, Devon. You don't pull the blade toward you. Or you just use the pull tab on that Priority Mail Express flat rate envelope. Damn, Devon, figure it out. That was dangerous with that letter opener. Oh, but that wasn't the only dangerous moment in that conversation or of that evening, because things got kind of emotionally dangerous there for a minute. Devon asked Elena if she had pre-existing feelings for Nate while she was with Devon. Devon needed clarity is what it all boiled down to. I think if he was going to move forward with his life, he needed some clarity. And if he and Elena are handshake friends now, well then why not clear the air? Oh, Elena tried to wriggle out of answering that question, but the snowstorm stopped her. She was trapped. Car wouldn't start, nowhere to run. So Elena finally offers the explanation that honestly I think I needed to hear. What she said to Devon was, I felt like I was competing with Amanda and Hillary, and I was losing. That night with Nate, it wasn't as much about me wanting him. It was about me feeling wanted and needed. That night, I felt wanted and needed, and you hadn't made me feel that way in a long time. Now, I think Elena did not want to say that. I think Elena did not want to say that because she did not want to hurt Devon or cause an argument. She did not want to come off as if she was blaming Devon for what happened with Nate because her betrayal was bigger. She still made that decision to sleep with Nate. But it's true that Amanda was a factor. It's true that Hillary was a factor. And maybe Devon didn't handle his relationship with Elena very well when Amanda came along. That finally clicked with him this week. It finally clicked with me this week, but I loved that moment where Devon said, It's true. I got swept up in my past, and it made me neglect my present. I should have listened to you, and I didn't. Ugh, so good. So good. And hearing it all from the two characters, from their perspective, helped me feel clarified on what exactly happened and why. I mean, it does not explain why Elena was giving Nate girly looks and lauding so much attention on him for weeks before they slept together. That doesn't go away. But now, the real Who's the Baby Daddy plot begins. The plot has arrived. Elena has been sleeping with Nate, and now she slept with Devon. This has to result in a pregnancy. This has to result in a pregnancy to put an end to the intimacy that can't happen between Devon and Amanda and Nate and Elena because of COVID. Elena's pregnancy stops all future implied sex scenes while we wait for the plot to unfold. Summer and Kyle are back from LA. And one of Summer's very first stops is to meet with Phyllis for some motherly advice. But Phyllis's motherly advice is a little different from the what would Phyllis do game. Phyllis's advice to Summer is to play it cool with the information that she has on Sally. Don't play your hand too soon. Keep it close to the vest. You've got her where you want her. Meanwhile, Phyllis happens upon Jack and Sally together out at society. Phyllis gives their little friendship the squinty eye, the curled lip, the look of disapproval. But Jack pays no mind. Of course Jack pays no mind. Jack is fully under Sally Spectra's spell at this point in the game. He's fetching her coffee at work, for crying out loud. Sally Spectra's practically the co-CEO of Jabot. If Summer were to hand over Sally's dirty laundry list now to Jack or to anybody else, it's only going to make her look bad. Jack and Lauren both love Sally way too much at this point. Summer had to take Phyllis's advice on how to handle Sally. Summer let Sally know that she knew her secret without telling Sally exactly what she knew. Oh, Sally knows that Summer knows, but Summer left that little seed of wonder about how much she knows, just in case there's more that Summer doesn't know yet. Yeah. And last week I asked you, Summer versus Sally, who are you rooting for? We obviously have a rivalry here. Whose side are you on? 65% of you, the majority, picked Summer. 35% picking Sally. I almost kind of think this poll question could have been framed more as a, are you rooting for Summer or are you rooting against Summer? I think it had less to do with Sally than it did to do with Summer. Because see, Sally's underdog story has all the stuff that made me fall in love with Sally on The Bold and the Beautiful when she first came onto the show. I mean, her mom and dad were carnies, nomads. She was abandoned by them with her sister. She kind of had a lonely childhood. She had to scrap together everything that she is today. All of those are qualities that make you want to root for someone. And here's the other thing. Sally hasn't lied about her past. She hasn't really even tried to hide it. She has told both Jack and Lauren, and anyone else who will listen, that yeah, she's made some past mistakes, but she's here for a fresh start. So, Summer dragging Sally's past out into the light just makes Summer look immature and intimidated by Sally. The reason I'm rooting for Summer, though, The reason I voted for Summer, though, is that I cannot have Sally and Jack hook up. I cannot have it. I need it to stop right now, by whatever means necessary. I am getting father-daughter vibes between them, and that is the plot that I need to be revealed soon. That Kyle and Sally are brother-sister. Sally is Jack's long-lost daughter. Yes. Please. Something's about to be revealed, though. The plot is about to arrive, though. Because when Sally was stuck at Jack's in the snowstorm, sleeping in the guest room with the extra pillows in the armoire, Jack accidentally mentioned to Sally that Kyle and Theo had some wild days in New York City, and Sally's face lit up like that fireplace. Oh, so Kyle has some secrets. And Theo would know these secrets? Might want to check into that. And so, it looks like Theo is coming back for a few episodes next week. Whoa! Theo's coming back week of February, I think they said the week of February 1st. Wow, that's next week. Theo is coming back to reveal one of Kyle's secrets. That's what I'm hearing. Some of Kyle's secrets are about to be revealed. Oh, Summer and Kyle are so going down. They're going down. They're celebrating their success right now by eating a vending machine's worth of corn chips, with Summer saying, "Gee, I'm so glad we don't have any secrets that anyone could hold over us." Yeah, they're going down hard. Sally, Spectra, you keep your hands off of Jack Abbott. Because he belongs to Gloria. That's what it all boils down to, really. I'm suddenly feeling all territorial about Jack because in my mind, he's taken. Oh, but that final scene on Friday with Jack stoking the fire as Sally goes upstairs for the night, I would give a penny or more for his thoughts. Oh, and they better be pure. Gloria's the one for Jack. Come on. Gloria is even looking extra crazy right now. Gloria has crazy eyes. And she was really chewing the scenery in the Abbott living room when she was trying to angle for Jack to give her a job. Oh, is that forest tapestry on the wall? Is that new? No, Gloria, it's been here for 60 years. And the furniture hasn't been reupholstered either since Jack was married to Sharon, and that was 20 years ago. Jack shot down Gloria's old job request, and Lauren did too. I don't get it. Why can't anybody just give Gloria a job? What's the problem? Say what you will about Gloria, she is a go-getter. She would be a valuable member of anyone's company. It's her time to shine. It breaks my heart to see Gloria rejected time and time again. It's like, here's what it is. Gloria is always so big and so over the top that when her balloon gets deflated so far and she becomes so small, so little, you just feel it. Her high is so high that the low is so low, and you just feel it. You feel for her. Or at least I do. We have two pieces of casting news this week that are bombshell. Well, first is Theo coming on for just a few episodes the week of February 1st. So that's next week. I feel like we would have seen that in the previews if we got any previews, because everything's still kind of thrown off from the preemptions last week. If there was previews, we would have definitely had a moment where we saw Theo's face and then we all gasped. So he's coming back next week, and then the week of February 8th, Don Diamont is coming to Y&R for another piece of this crossover with Bold and the Beautiful. Don Diamant's coming on to The Young and the Restless, walking through the door as Bill Spencer, just the way we were talking about last week. Can you believe it? Oh, it's like a dream come true. The moment I see Bill Spencer walking into Genoa City, be still, my big, beating, Sharon-sized heart. Secrets and lies are a classic defense mechanism. Ooh, that was our Who Said It quote from last week, and it almost could have been anybody. I think everybody in Genoa City is well versed in secrets and lies and why they exist. But that quote came from Nikki. She was talking to Sharon about substance abuse disorders and saying that that's the reason why Faith is keeping secrets and telling lies. It's a classic defense mechanism of an alcoholic. That was a hard one. Only Jamie, Daisy, Henry, Marianne V, and Kamna got it right. Wow. I love it when I pick a hard one. Makes me feel like I've really challenged you. How about this one? Who said this? I will gladly bust a move. I will gladly bust a move. Who said it? If you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, then I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Well, let's crack open this Chatterbox and read some of your comments, because the first comment comes from Kamna, who says, Allie, I'm a big fan of what you suggested last week. More meaningful crossovers with the bold and the beautiful. I would love to see Bill Spencer come to town for a bit and to completely throw Tracy off. Nothing serious, though, as I'm rooting for him and Katie, but you're absolutely right. Don Diamont is so funny on that show. He's a funny guy. He does have a really good sense of humor, and he plays comedy well, but he plays drama well, too. But I love your suggestion that perhaps Tracy might have a moment of looking at him and going, I hope that Y&R plays this right. And again, since Don has a good sense of comedy, I hope that they use that, and there's a couple of double takes, because again, he's not coming back as Brad Carlton. That's just the character that he played for, a decade? He's coming back as a completely different person, but I would love to see some winky winks to the longtime Y&R fans who remember him as Brad. Oh, that would be so great. But I think Y&R's really doing a great thing with these crossovers. They don't seem particularly meaningful. But I think they could be. I wonder why it's happening. There's just a part of me that thinks, I wonder if they have thoughts of merging the shows someday. The Bold and the Restless. What do you think of that? Yet another CBS original programming, brand new series, The Bold and the Restless. could spend part-time and, well, we could spend summers in Genoa City and the winters in LA. That works for me. But Superplex says, well, Kyle's big secret doesn't seem so formidable. That he left drunken Zoe at the hospital, big deal. If that's it, it's so disappointing. Yeah, this was my first reaction to it too. Like, oh, so what? Kyle's big secret, we all know, turned out to be a big flop. The whole Zoe thing was just not juicy enough. But Sherrod says that cannot be the secret, because Summer already knows about that. Apparently, this secret is ammo that Sally uses to keep Summer and Kyle in line while she goes after Jack. Oh, okay. Ig on that last part about Jack. I know you're rooting for him, though, Sherrod, too. So I got to bring myself back and make sure I'm presenting both sides. So I'd love to hear some people telling me why they like the idea of Sally and Jack this week. So weigh in. Give me the why you want some Sally and Jack. But the main point here is about Kyle's secret. It can't be something small. It can't be something that the audience already knows. At least I hope not. They got to come up with something new. They got to make it bombshell. It has to blow up Kyle and or Summer's world. Yes, we need to see them with some egg on their faces. The only thing is, if Theo had something on Kyle, he already would have blown it up. If Theo had something that was going to rock the whole town and the whole world around Kyle, he would have blown it up when he had the reason to, not just because Sally has asked him to. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play it, but man, I can't wait. I, of course, wish it was more than a couple of episodes, but I am glad to have Theo back on screen. That's going to be really good. Well, talking about that poll, Summer versus Sally, Victoria says, I voted for Summer. As viewers of Y&R, we have full background on Summer. Sally has been a bit of a mystery, which isn't a bad thing. I just don't know enough about her to root for her. I hope the writers encourage me to become more interested in Sally. I hope they flesh out her background, bring on her family or some friends or some enemies into Genoa City. I sense that Sally has a deep hurt, and it would be nice if they explored this. Yeah, I think that's the crux of it too, Victoria, is that we know Summer, we don't know Sally. But we're starting to get to know her now. She at least told us a little bit about her background this week. I think we needed that in order to make her rootable. Lynn4283 says, I was going back and forth between Summer and Sally. I actually like the character of Sally and all of her mischief, so I am looking forward to seeing what happens next with the two ladies. Marianne V says, I voted for Summer even though I'm not a big fan of hers. But Sally is being Sally, manipulating and trying to get Summer's job, and probably Jack too. TB84 says, you said exactly what I was thinking about the situation in last week's Y&R Chat, Allie. I feel like Summer and Kyle are attacking Sally a little bit too much. And that all of this finding the dirt on her. I don't know. I feel like they should leave her alone. So I voted for Sally. See, that's the thing. It does seem like, I bet that poll is kind of like, well, you're either kind of rooting for Summer or against Summer, you know? Because Superplex says, the only thing I know about Sally Spectra is what's been revealed on Y&R, so it should not come as a surprise that I feel really sorry for her. And Robbie says, I voted Sally. I'm sorry, but Summer has no right to judge Sally whatsoever. If Summer can change, then why can't Sally? Summer's coming off as so unlikable, per usual. Ugh. And Ellen says, just do your job, Summer, and enjoy your boyfriend. If you're such a phenom, then Sally is no threat to you. At least she wasn't until you went to LA, dug around, then made it clear that you had lots of damaging info on Sally. Not smart to threaten Sally. And why did you? Having everything you said you wanted just wasn't enough, Summer? Ooh. Yeah, that was a very notable moment too, when Summer was kind of proud of herself that she didn't use the info against Sally to blow up Sally's world. She was proud of herself for taking the high road. But then Kyle did have a moment where he said to her, I think he called her a rat or something. And you know what happens when a rat gets cornered? They lash out. So Kyle has a warning here. Kyle's telling Summer that she may have made a bigger enemy by playing it the way she did. T. Nicole says, I feel like Sally can crush Summer and can be a bit boring, but you throw Phyllis into the mix and now that is a party. Phyllis or even Gloria versus Sally. Now that would be fun. Astra says, yes, Phyllis was Sally back in the day, and so was Gloria. So they both have her number. I'm liking that people other than Summer and Kyle can see through Sally. I also love the talk between Phyllis and Summer, and Phyllis telling Summer that she would be Sally in the Summer versus Sally situation. Oh, yeah. Yeah, T. Nicole and Astra. It was such a notable moment where Summer was kind of asking, what would you do? And Phyllis was saying, I hate to break it to you, but I would be Sally. If we're doing the remake version of Summer versus Sally, Phyllis would be cast as Sally, not the good girl. But I like this idea of Phyllis and Gloria having an eye on her. And I also like this comment from Ellen, who says Sally and Gloria would understand each other. And I think, yeah, Ellen, that applies to Phyllis too. It's got to go one way or the other. Phyllis and Gloria are kind of sniffing out Sally right now in a, ooh, what could she be up to? I understand her. I'm just like them. I'm just like her kind of way. But on the flip side, what you're saying, Ellen, is that Gloria and Phyllis, they should understand Sally. They should see where she's coming from. I mean, wouldn't the whole I've had to scrap for together everything I have story that Sally is selling, wouldn't Gloria and Phyllis be the perfect people to buy it? They should understand that more than anyone. Well, Ellen goes on to say, Gloria should be enjoying a comfortable retirement right about now. Relaxing lunches, doting on her new grandchild, maybe some charity work. Michael and Kevin are loser sons. Gloria shouldn't be running around begging for a job. She's given enough over the years. Where is her golden parachute? No kidding. You also mentioned separately, Ellen, that doesn't Gloria have a retirement plan or an inheritance or maybe something from her and her divorce settlements? And that is so true. Or was the story that Jeffrey Bardwell bled her dry? Is that why Gloria's kind of broke and going around begging for the job because Jeffrey took all her money? Yeah, you'd think she'd have come out of LA with a little something, but boy, what is she gonna do? What is she gonna do? Zuperplex says, well, Gloria lives for the now. She is bedeviled by that same ailment that curses a lot of people of advancing age, and that is the fear of encroaching decrepitude. She cannot stand to see herself frail and helpless, and in her mind, she must be the master of her own destiny, notwithstanding the fact that destiny has often left her at the mercy of her antagonists. Oh, I know. Yeah, Gloria wants to take charge. Gloria wants to be in control of her life and her destiny, even when that doesn't work out in her favor. I am really dying to know what she is going to do. All she wanted was a job. All Gloria is saying is, I want to work. I want to earn my keep. I want to be here and participate, and both Jack and Lauren shut her down, and I, for the life of me, do not know why. On to the topic of faith, and I think Faith is a very good topic. I think Faith is a very interesting character study right now. Jamie says, "Oh my goodness, Miss Faith. If my teen lashed out like Faith did at society, she would be grounded with no phone." In fact, the drinking and cutting up at school would have warranted grounding with no phone. So parents are a different breed. The compassion and understanding element is absolutely necessary, but no restrictions or consequences for lying and drinking? No way. Hey, that's a good point. Faith didn't really get in trouble when she got caught drinking. They just put the eagle eye on her a little bit more, but she didn't really suffer any kind of consequences for her actions. Why didn't they take away her phone? I got my phone taken away back in the day where it was not even a smartphone. It was jacked to the wall and I got it taken away. I had my own phone line too, just so you know. That's how much of an active chatter I was in the 90s. And my parents were like, I don't need these people calling my line, so we're going to go ahead and get the kid her line. But I had bad grades one semester, and I got my phone taken away for the entire semester. My parents were serious on that. There was no talking my way out of it. There was no early grace period, nothing. I got it taken away until the grades came up. That really put a damper on my chatting. But how about this comment from Gary? Now, it is a little long, but I think there's a lot in here that we should dig into. Gary says, "However inept, I like the Nick scenes where he recounts his efforts to keep his eye on Faith. Maybe he should be doing the things stated, like taking her phone, etc. But he is in a very tricky situation, walking a tightrope of supervising her, yet knowing that he has to trust her and give her some room if she's not going to cut him off." Okay, I'm going to pause right there because this is the story. This is what the story is. How do you find the right balance between the punishment and the respect of punishing the child versus trying to respect the child as not a child anymore? Gary says, "I like Nick's dialogue and Josh's performance. It's a sticky wicket. Faith is currently becoming more rebellious, but she is a clever little customer, and it's been hard for the parents to actually get something on her beyond the drinking. Faith pretending not to be doing anything wrong or being more trouble than she actually has already stated makes dogging her difficult. Faith has the past history of being an intelligent child, and as so many have pointed out, she's basically the smartest one in the family, so what to do?" Okay, I'll pause there again, because that's the other thing. Aside from the drinking, what has Faith done? What has she done? Nothing. It's just like a time bomb of ticking teen emotions, and we're all waiting for it to explode again. Gary also goes on to say, "It was awesome the other day when Faith finally found her voice and blew up at the assembled crowd at Crimson. She was rude to Grandmommy." Melody looked stricken, but she does love her own and rose to the occasion as we knew she would. I also liked the later exchange between father and daughter where Faith had calmed down and asked Nick to have faith in her to figure everything out. Nick does have faith in Faith, so he is hoping for that as he struggles to keep her safe. Safe. Interesting. Keeping kids safe. Did your parents do this much to keep you safe? I'm just wondering, because I kind of did my own thing. I kind of made my own mistakes and somehow made it through. Now, I mean, what is Faith? How old is she? She's 15? Yeah, I was making some mistakes by 15. No doubt about it. And I definitely found my way through. My parents never hovered. I just wonder, the helicopter parent thing is maybe more recent evolution, but it comes from a place of love and fear too, though. Fear of losing your child, especially when you've already been through that already, as Nick and Sharon have. One more observation from Gary. As much as Faith plots and schemes and uses her phone to grab quality time with Jordan, Has anybody noticed that she never seems to have a very good time with Jordan? Think about it, Faith. I have to weigh in on this because the Jordan part of the story is tired. Jordan either needs to have a bigger presence in the story that's not just texting. I'm sick of seeing texting. Or, if not, then Jordan needs to be removed from the storyline equation. It's not working. Ellen says, it got a bit strange when Phyllis and Nick were talking about the difficulties of raising a teenager. Do they ever talk about the fact that Phyllis's son, Daniel, was drunk as a teenager? And that's why Cassie chose to try to drive him home, even though she didn't have a driver's license? And then when Cassie crashed the car and died, Nick hunted Daniel down like he was a murderous serial killer. That part of their shared history now seems forgiven and forgotten. Oh yeah, Ellen, long forgiven and forgotten, no doubt. But gosh, this is an excellent point. Phyllis had she had the opportunity to talk to Nick about this, and it wasn't there. I never would have picked up on that. But yeah, I mean, the Daniel piece of the teen drunk driving story that led to Cassie's death is so very relevant. And now that Nick is back together with Faith, Nick is back together with Phyllis, it would make complete sense that she would talk to him about her experience with Daniel and how that relates to Faith. But wow, yeah, that just didn't happen. Oh, let's switch over to Cassie's twin, though, Mariah. Let's talk about all this. Well, let's start with Sherrod, who says, I loved what Tessa was saying to Mariah about the surrogacy. But for me, it felt like Mariah was discussing things with a good friend, not her girlfriend, partner, love of her life, the woman she screwed her brother over for, the woman she had to fight with her family to be with. Also, from Tessa's point of view, you've been in this 3-year-long relationship with someone that you tried to propose to, but it was stopped. Then that girlfriend says that she may want to have someone else's baby, something the two of you have never discussed. How many would say, you decide and I will accept it? Because basically that is what Tessa did when she asked Mariah, what was your response to Abby's question? And this was before it was even discussed with her. I'm sorry, I can't anymore. And another question. Abby knows that Mariah and Tessa are a couple. Why would she not include her in the conversation? It would affect her life too. Funny that. No kidding. So if Abby and Mariah are such close friends, why didn't Abby really mention Tessa at all? This is a big deal. This is a big life-changing event. And it is surprising that Tessa was such a small part of it. I would have honestly, in Abby's pitch, I would have expected Abby to say, I know you might want to talk, you need to talk about this with Tessa. You guys both need to make sure that you're okay with this. Because if Tessa has even a little bit of reservation or a little bit of a chip on her shoulder about Mariah's choice, then that's going to cause a problem for Abby and Chance. And yet that was totally ignored. Tessa was totally ignored as a component. I just wish Y&R would make Tessa matter. If they're going to let her be on the show, if they're going to highlight Mariah in such a big way, I just wish they would give us Tessa as a part of Mariah's life. And I don't think we're getting that. Leslie says, I think Phyllis would have been a good option for surrogate as well. I think the actress uses surrogate herself, so it's combining the Abby and Phyllis story and add more reasons for the scenes between her and Abby the night that she comped her the room. Yes, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, that's true. Michelle Stafford did use a surrogate, right? Oh, cool. Yeah, that would have been really, really relevant to bring her into this too. But Phyllis being the option as the surrogate. I mean, yeah, why not that? Or T. Nicole says, I wonder if Lola would be considered as a surrogate for Abby and Chance. Lola and Abby are very close friends, and Lola needs a story. Where is Lola? Where'd Lola go? Paging Lola, where are you? She's gone. Why didn't she have some kind of presence in this story? She could have been a really good person to ask. Oh, yeah. Huh. I mean, with all of these other options available, why did Abby pick Mariah as her first choice? Why did Abby pick Mariah, who is in a relationship? And yeah, I mean, not even show concern about Tessa, not mention Tessa, not think about how her own request would be affecting Mariah's relationship with Tessa. Yeah, there were other options here, no doubt about it. Oh, Diana says, Mariah looked like a mix between Little Red Riding Hood and Old Mother Hubbard when she was standing outside the door of the Chancellor Mansion. Mariah needs to step up her winter fashion wardrobe for this stormy weather. Maybe she could give Chloe or Lauren a call to do some shopping. We could finally see Fenmore's boutique that we haven't seen in years. Yeah, the hooded look. It was kind of a striking scene. Abby opening up the door from the mystery knock, and it's Mariah standing there in a hood. I did think she looked very saintly there. Kind of a Virgin Mary fashion for her Immaculate Conception. Oh, other topics. Victoria says, do you think that Sharon was expecting Adam to pop over to the coffee house to check if she had decided on counseling Chelsea? Because she had her hair curled and that off-the-shoulder sexy top on. Sharon always looks great, and she looked like she took extra care that day. No doubt about it. Sharon knows that Adam could be coming by at any time, so she popped on the peasant girl top, squeezed herself into her tan leather pants, and said, I'm ready. I'm ready, Adam. Come and get me. Oh, get a load of this. Diana says, as I'm reading comments about Chelsea and Adam on here, a thought occurred to me. What if we see Chelsea imagining Adam and Sharon sharing an intimate moment together again, only we come home to find out that it's not Chelsea's imagination? As viewers, we're to believe that Chelsea is imagining this just as before, only this time it's real. Chelsea witnesses Adam and Sharon kissing and is so angered and upset that she's able to shout out real words and express her feelings this time. We then hear Adam and Sharon talking privately, saying that this was the plan for the best in order to motivate and help Chelsea recover. Chelsea would later forgive them for this awful scheme, as it would give her back the strength that she needs to be a mother to her son. Ooh, Diana, that is good. That is too good to be true. It's so good they wouldn't even ever do it. But man, that would rock me. See, that's what I'm saying. I still think this writing team struggles to get the right balance between the plot and the character. But I love a shock. I love a surprise. I do love a twist. If Y&R was setting us up to see all of these Chelsea fantasies, only then to start showing us a fantasy one time, and then we expect it's a Chelsea dream sequence, and then all of a sudden they rip out the rug from under us and go, gotcha, that was real. Oh, I would lose it. That would get some viewers. Man, that is imaginative and fantastic and shocking and juicy and scoopy, and I just love that, and I have no hope that it would ever happen. These writers do like a safe bet. They like to play it safe, and boy, that would bring some drama. Well, the one thing they really did shock me on this week that was steamy and juicy and that I did not expect was the Devon and Elena moment. I mean, no doubt about it, that had me going, ooh, that's a good way to end a Friday. Sandra says yes to Elena and Devon, all of it. It may be one night only, but that conversation and their physical connection needed to happen. Devon needed to say out loud that Elena wasn't imagining his infatuation with Amanda and reliving his life with Hillary. These two loved each other and they needed to settle things between them. I feel like they each know where they stand now. I don't believe they'll be getting back together, but I do believe a seed was planted. And little Devon, little Elena will be acknowledged shortly. little Devon or little Elena will be acknowledged shortly. No doubt about it. The seed was planted. But I agree with you. You know, I'm watching the Devon and Elena scene, and of course I'm thinking, but what about Amanda? But I will say I did have a moment of feeling like, oh, okay, they're good together too. So anyway, it goes down. I was very compelled, not even just by the sex scene. I was very compelled by the conversation that happened. That was much needed for the characters and for the audience. Hey, Diana says, I'm enjoying seeing little Johnny and Katie again. They actually have speaking lines now. Y&R is making the scenes much more family-oriented and realistic. Even pre-COVID, we rarely saw the children as they were merely and only mentioned and would often only nod their heads and not talk. We know that talking has to do with their budget, so I like that Y&R is willing to splurge a little. I loved seeing Billy chasing the kids around the house, finding little Johnny hiding behind the couch. It really gives us that sense that he's the father of two kids and that he has an ex-wife. The storyline of Victoria being jealous is very relatable, as a new relationship, such as Billy and Lily, is not always easy with the exes and the kids in the picture. We see Victoria feeling jealous and Billy and Lily having to deal with Victoria interfering and not making things easy for Billy and Lily. It's very true to life. I hadn't exactly thought about it that way, Diana. That is true. I mean, we definitely do live in a world where I bet a lot of people have been exactly in this situation where you're involved with someone who has kids and an ex-wife, and that ex-wife finds little ways to make things difficult on you. Or maybe you've been the ex-wife and you're watching your ex-husband moving on into this new life and he's being all happy, and it would be natural to be jealous about it. That's the key here, is that it would be natural for Victoria to be feeling the way that she is. As far as plot goes, I don't want to see her being nasty toward them. I just think that the character of Victoria has been so neglected for so long. I'd like to see her a little happy. Come on. I mean, I know she's doing a good job of being that ruthless Victor Newman Jr., but she has these kids. She is a mother, and Amelia Hindley is so very attractive, and she has the capability of being warm, and they never give her that opportunity anymore. I would way rather see Victoria moving on too. It's natural for her to feel the way she feels, but moving on too. Gary with a little bit of reality here saying, in my opinion, if Billy were anything but a Disneyland dad, he would not have walked away from his children to go find himself a few years ago. That's kind of what I was feeling too when I was watching those scenes. Like, boy, I'm so glad that you're happy, Billy. I'm glad you got what you wanted finally, but you could have had this life with Victoria. There was no reason that he couldn't have been happy with Victoria and the kids and that they could have worked things out, but he refused to talk to her. That's what really bothered me about that situation. If Victoria was making Billy feel emasculated, that's legit, but he didn't want to talk about it. She asked him time and time again to tell her what was wrong, and he refused to do it. That's what bothers me. Well, I'm willing to forgive and forget if Victoria is. But Shirley says, I don't like the fact that Victoria took Victor's picture down in the office. That was mean. He did build the company. You know what, Shirley? This is something that hasn't been talked about enough. In my opinion, it's not been talked about enough. That portrait of Victor Newman on the wall in his office was iconic. And Victoria just took it down, quietly ushered it away, and it's never been mentioned again. I miss that portrait. Yeah, iconic. Well, also iconic is the Y&R theme song. Ellen says, Perry Botkin Jr., the composer of The Young and the Restless, Nadia's theme, has died at age 87. Oh my goodness, yes. Wow. I saw that, and that's sad, but I mean, wow, what an incredible legacy to leave behind, though. Perry Botkin Jr. I mean, that piece of music is famous. Even among non-Y&R fans, everyone knows it. I mean, that the Young and the Restless theme song has had 9 lives. It's had many evolutions, many variations. Oh, and so have our sets. Henry says, kudos to the set crew for having the fake snow consistently shown through the window in all of those scenes. Yes, I noticed that too, the snow in the outside the windows, and it got stronger, it seemed. I thought that was a lovely touch. And Victoria says, the weather brought more than snow to Genoa City. It brought honest conversations and characters really listening. Mariah and Abby talked about their concerns and fears. Mariah shared these with Tessa. Billy and Victoria had a good moment, but it felt like I've been here before. Devon and Elena's conversation was honest and thoughtfully done. The acting was incredible, and I hope a new storm is brewing soon. Oh yeah, Victoria, yeah. There's always a new storm brewing soon on Y&R. Right now, right this very moment, there is a definite high-pressure system moving through the area. So you know what? Let's just settle in and start a fire. I'll bring the marshmallows. Okay, everybody. Well, this marks week 2 in a row that I am here with you in audio form only. This also marks the 1 month timeline of me having no support with my daughter. I'm with her all the time, and the reason that the video component is difficult to pull off is that it's on the opposite side of the house from where she is, and it just isolates me. I have to set up the lights and everything to get the video done, and it isolates me to a point where I can't hear her, and I can't leave. It takes 2 hours just on the recording, and I can't leave her for 2 hours unattended. And I suppose I could do it in 10, 15-minute chunks, but it's quite labor intensive. The other piece is that Y&R Chat kind of has to be recorded in a very slim period of time. The show airs on Friday. I don't get to see it until Friday night, so I really only have Saturday to prepare for it, because by the time Monday rolls around, anything I say on Sunday could be irrelevant. So it's not only that it's time consuming, it's that it has to take place in a pretty short window of time, and I just have no support with her right now. It won't be that way forever. In fact, who knows, maybe next week I'll be able to pull it off, and I certainly will try. I like doing the video portion too. I do. It kind of gets me going, kind of gets me in the mood. Even though the audio it's more relaxed for me. I don't know, I'm probably more animated and have a little bit more fun doing it in video. I'm looking right now into maybe signing her up for a little dance class or something. Thinking maybe I could become a dance mom. What do you think? I gotta do a little something to get her out in the world, and it's difficult, because of COVID. There's so few options for kids right now, and trying to play it safe, trying to protect her and protect me, and it's a factor that I didn't have to deal with or consider 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But I still hope that you enjoy Y&R Chat as it is right now. I'm going to try to work on improving the audio. I don't know if this is great audio quality. I know it wasn't last week, but I am going to try to make improvements on it and get it where it's nice and easy to listen to. And I will try to be back for video as soon as I can. So I tried some hibiscus tea today. Continuing on my tea journey, I tried hibiscus from my little sampler. It was very good. I wasn't expecting it to be good. It didn't taste like flowers. It tasted tart, like berries. So it was good. I think Dina may have been on to something, and I am just now catching on to it. I don't know if I would order it. I wouldn't go out of my way for it. I don't go out of my way for fruity or tarty teas. Kind of like spice or herb. That's where my taste tends to lie. But it was a good experience, and it was an experience I felt I should have on a Y&R Chat day. Oh, how's your day? I hope it's going very well for you. Hope you had a good week. Hope you go to yrchat.com to tell me what you think about the show. What do you think of all of these plots? What do you think of our character evolutions? Are Abby and Mariah making a big mistake? Vote in the poll. Oh, and you know me, I'll be back next week in one form or another. Because Theo's coming back. That's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm going to be back for 2 weeks minimum, because how could I not comment on Theo? And then I'll be back probably losing my mind over seeing Don Diamont again on Y&R. So I've got 2 weeks to prepare myself mentally for my mind to explode. February 8th, the week of February 8th, that's on my calendar, baby. I'm waiting. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm here, rain or shine. I'm here, whether it's sunny or snowy. Snowstorms or no storms. Young and the Restless is my thing. I love it. I know you love it too. So enjoy your week, enjoy the show, and come back next Sunday. I love you. Bye.